And we're in Hampshire, and it is an absolutely wonderful day. We've got a little bit of cloud around, but the sun has certainly made a bit of an appearance since earlier on today. We've got a good breeze blowing over the circuit as well. It is an airfield track, of course, this place. And a man who likes his flying, but is also enjoying the results of today so far, because Vauxhall have had a victory, is a certain Mike Nicholson. And I think that we're going to be able to hear from Mike. He's with Diana.
Thanks very much, Ben. Yes, I am with Mike down here in the pit lane. Mike, if I could just rewind you back to that first race. It was a few heart-stopping moments at the end.
It was at the end. I mean, from 7 laps from the end, the water temperature started to rise on Fabrizio's car, and 5 laps from the end he came on, said the alarm was on. Well, what can you do? You just have to keep pressing on and hope for the best. And actually, he just managed to get across the line before the engine lost total compression. Basically, a small union had come dislodged and allowed the water to gradually to seep out. So luckily, we managed to finish the race, but it was a close call thing.
So everything is okay for this race, same engine?
No, new engine. It lost all its compression, so there's done some damage inside, so that'll be reworked. But there is a new engine in for this race, and it seems to be fine. It started up all right. We can't see any fluid leaks, so we keep our fingers crossed.
I mean, that's obviously testament to the team of guys you got here. They've worked pretty hard then to get that one put together.
They do. They work very hard. I mean, the engines are designed for quick change anyway, but a little over an hour and it's done. All sorted out, and pole position. Carrying a lot of weight, but we'll wait and see what happens. We've got the Seats right behind us, so it should be fun.
I mean, Fabrizio's really, the last few rounds, has sort of come into his own, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's showing his class. Last year was very much a learning year, the language barriers, difficulties. He was trying to drive a car last year that had been actually set up around another driver, Ivan Muller. This year, the car's been set up around him. He's happy with the car, comfortable with it, and from the day one, he's basically said, I can win with this car, and so it proves it.
I mean, conditions have changed sort of slightly now here. Is that going to make much difference to you?
Well, basically the temperature is obviously going up. I haven't seen the track temperature, but it will obviously make a difference. Again, the higher the temperature, the harder it is on the tyres.
Thanks very much, Mike. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Diana. Yeah, the car's just making their way down pit lane, so it's getting a bit noisy out there, so they'll be coming around onto the start-finish line in just a few moments' time. It was an interesting start, Simon, that we enjoyed to the first race, and we can actually have a little bit of a look from various points of view. Let's take a look, first of all, from the overall shot, and it was a great start from the BMW of Thruxton.
As we've come to expect, rear-wheel drive really showing its benefit there off the line. Interesting there, we saw Matt Jackson coming through in the middle of the pack. Unfortunately, it's all about to go wrong for Matt. Now, here's from Tom Onslow-Cole, the other of the Team RAC BMWs. Not quite as strong as Thruxton's start, but likewise neat and tidy and stayed out of trouble.
Yes, now let's see if we can see what happened a bit further up here as they come up towards the complex. Matt Jackson in the white BMW was way over to the right-hand side, I think, and there was a bit of a squeeze just ahead of him. And then, look at the rear wheel shot off Shedden's car.
Yeah, that was the end of that one. But it sort of was balanced out by the fact that Matt Jackson's front left wheel fell off, so it was piles of bits of car around the outside. But it's interesting this year, you're looking at, last year we expected the Team Halfa's Integras to be virtually bulletproof. Matt Neal's car just never seemed to break, and this year the Civics are noticeably a lot more susceptible to damage.
That was an interesting move by Gareth Howell. He had a good first lap as well. I talked to him. Unfortunately, he had a bit of tyre damage towards the end of the race. He'd actually damaged it over a curb. He still got to the finish of the race, but he ended up down in 11th place. But certainly in the early stages, Gareth Howell, as you can see from that opening lap replay, he was really going very, very well.
Yeah, very quick through that last fast section. I know Gareth really loves Thruxton. He's very confident here, and the Team Motorbase guys have obviously got the Seat working well. They've taken a lot of data from the Seat Works team, from who they acquired the cars from, and as I think you said earlier, Jason Plato, of course, won his first race at Thruxton in the first round of the series.
Now this is the view from on board Jason Plato's car. He started down in 7th place on the grid. That's Shedden just coming across in front of him there. Mike Jordan didn't make a particularly good start, so he was up just ahead of Shedden. Plato went to the outside, interestingly, coming up towards the right-hander for the complex here. Sometimes the outside here is a good place to be, but you can get hit by people, and Plato fortunately wasn't on that section. Then he had the inside, and then it looks as though he had a pretty clear line out.
Yeah, neat and tidy through the last section. From here, this is where it really is important to keep momentum up. You could see that with Gareth Howell's car in front of Onslow Cole, just how he was very, very neat and tidy and not letting the car slide around. Interestingly, you look at the front-wheel drive cars, usually through these kind of corners, the back will move around where the rear tyres aren't up to temperature. But look, the BMW is struggling there, and that's because the front tyres weren't warm. An interesting thing, I think you were chatting to the team and they were saying that's the problem they're having here.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Turkington, he got up to second, but he then dropped back down again. That you probably see Plato probably gets past him here, actually, because he was just heading up towards the chicane. Turkington had to try and cover it to the inside, and Plato and Turner were both pretty much getting past him at the same time into the chicane. You can see it from the onboard point of view, and Plato was able to turn in ahead of the BMW. But yes, talking to the team, there's no doubt they had a bit of trouble heating those front tyres up. This was on board with Gordon Shedden, I think, wasn't it? Coming into... Yes, there was the contact with Matt Jackson. And Matt Jackson said, yeah, well, he said, I got on the grass, but I was squeezed on the grass, and then I had no brakes, and sadly I hit the back of Shedden's car.
Oh yeah, and then he gets the second whack, and you heard from Gordon Shedden earlier, he was obviously pretty upset. I don't think, clearly couldn't have realised that that rear wheel had gone, because at that point he hadn't really put any load on the car. He would have had to be going through a left-hand, but clatters his way back somehow.
Well, the cars are already on the grid, so let's get onto the grid ourselves with Diana.
Thanks, Ben. Yes, we're down here on the grid. Jason Plato lines up in second position for this one. Jason, have you made many changes to the car?
Yeah, I mean, we've made a few small changes just on the things we've learned in the first race. So we've changed the aerodynamics very slightly, and we've changed the mechanical setup of the car as well. So, you know, we're just trying to improve on our performance. Also, we've lost a little bit of weight in here, and of course Fabrizio's gained some. So, that coupled with the information we learned from the tyres in the first race, because after race one, we take the tyres apart and analyse their wear. So I've made a few small changes to try and improve our performance.
There's so many factors, isn't there, really? Losing a bit of weight, obviously that, I'm expecting, changes the handling of the car, so there's so many factors to come into the equation.
Yeah, it does. I mean, even though it's only, 8-9 kilos we've lost, it does make a difference. And, the track temperature is coming up all the time. It was quite cold this morning. The wind has now come up, so all these little small things, when you're looking for a tenth of a second here and a little bit there, that make a difference.
You like the track here?
Yeah, I love it. It's it's one of the very great tracks in the world, and that last race had everything for everybody. There was lots going on, and I think this is going to be a very hard race. I think.
Race win or points?
I want to win, but points are good.
Okay, all right, Jason, good luck. Thanks for talking to us. We'll catch you again after the race. If you can come this way with me, I'll just run all over here to Matt Neal, who is the current British Touring Car Champion. He lines up in 5th position on the grid today, and we're just going to have a quick chat through the window with him. Matt, how are you feeling for going into this race?
I'm looking forward to it. If we can stay with them, hang on to them earlier on in the race, then I think we got pretty good pace to give them a hard time in the latter stages.
Have you made many changes to the setup for this one?
Put some new tyres on it. No, we've done a couple of little things where I wasn't exactly perfectly happy with the car, but it ran really well in the first race, and we had good pace in the second half. So I'm just going to try and stay with the lead group and see if we can't turn the pressure up.
So how are you going to manage that?
That's a very good question. A few shortcuts. If we can stay in the tow, then maybe we can hang on to them.
All right. Thanks very much, Matt. Have a good race. We'll just go over here as well to Tom Chilton, who is, again, sitting in his car, talking to his engineer, I think, just before this race, the second one of the day, gets underway. We'll just jump in, I think, if I can, and just have a very quick word with Tom. Tom, what setup changes have you made?
I've made quite a few. As you can see in the first race, I was the fastest to start off with. I got fastest lap, but I was using the tyre too hard and I ended up going back quite quickly. So I've made setup changes to make it easier on the car.
There's so many things going on, isn't there? Because really the tyres are the crucial thing here.
Yeah, tyres are very crucial here. It's almost worth going slower first few laps, and then you can be quicker towards the end of the race. I think that's the key to around here, is to being careful first few laps. Don't hit any curbs, and then you'll be quick at the end.
Do you enjoy racing on the Thruxton track?
I absolutely love this circuit. I get a real big buzz, and this is the circuit I learned from when I was 13 years old. So it's my home circuit now. I've just moved down to Bournemouth as well.
Oh, well, great. Well, I hope you have a very good race, Tom. We'll speak to you later.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Diana. Thanks very much. Yes, he was one of the youngest people to start racing in this country. He started in what was called the T-Car Championship, which was very much set up for youngsters as young as 14. I think they had to be 14 to actually start racing them, but he no doubt started learning and doing racing schools at the age of 13. It's amazing to think he started that young, Simon.
Yeah, a colleague of ours, Andy Constable, used to coach Tom constantly, and it was literally round and round and round he'd be going, sitting in the passenger seat of the T-Car, hanging on very gamely. And 13-year-old boys are extremely brave, and Tom has proved as he's gone onwards and upwards into touring cars that it's been a great grounding. It's brought a lot of other good drivers through. Tom Onslow Cole is another driver that springs to mind. He's come out of that series as well.
So this is how the points stand going into race 2 of the day. It's round number 8, and Plato has a 13-point lead over Giovanardi. Tom Chilton is in 3rd place, and as we hear, he's hoping for better things this time. Matt Neal 4th, Colin Turkington in 5th place, and then Matt Jackson and Darren Turner tied for 6th place on in the championship. They're ahead of Tom Onslow Cole, Mike Jordan and Gordon Shedden. Mike Jordan was, of course, one of the most unfortunate in that first race. He was actually up into 2nd place and then had a tyre let go on him. It is a very marginal track in terms of if you run over the curbs, or even if you run a bit too much camber on the wheels, which means you run the wheels at a certain angle, you can overheat the tyre slightly, and driving style makes a big difference to that too. So they're all very conscious of it. Jason Plato more conscious than most because he had the same problem himself last year, and I thought he drove a very intelligent race earlier today.
He really did let the race come to him, didn't he? You could see that he'd obviously set the car up very much with the tyre wear issue being in mind. As we said earlier on, a totally different compound of tyre that Dunlop bring for this particular circuit, because so quick, so abrasive. There has been issues in the past. Now, interesting there, bit of a drama there with Jason's car. No wonder he was looking a little bit different to his normal calm self. So looks like the boys are about to fire it up. And
a little shake of the head, isn't there? There's a worry. Oh no, thumbs up now. It has fired up. Well, that was a little scare perhaps for Jason Plato. That was a cause for concern. I think he's looking a bit. I think he's looking as though the engine's fired up. I think he's ready to go for the formation lap here. Let's just check he gets off the line well. Remember, he's starting from 2nd position. There he goes. He is okay. So they pull away, and let's take a look at the grid lineup now. This is how they will be starting this race. It's Giovanardi and Jason Plato on the front row. The top 2 in the championship, although Plato has the advantage in the points. On the 2nd row of the grid, we've then got Darren Turner in the 2nd of the Seat, and Colin Turkington in the fast-starting BMW. He made a magic start in the first race. Let's see if he can do it in race 2. On the 3rd row of the grid, we've got Matt Neal and Tom Chilton. So Tom has made those changes to his car. He will be hoping it'll be stronger later in the race. Behind Tom Chilton, then we've got Matt Allen and Tom Onslow Cole, another of the BMWs to watch for that very rapid start. Behind these guys, Owen Murray and Mike Jordan. Jordan, who had that tyre blow towards the end of the first race. Behind these two, we had another one with a slight tyre problem. That was Gareth Howell, who had moved up much further on the grid but dropped back towards the end. Jason Hughes moved up from 22nd on the grid to finish in 12th. Behind them, we've got Martin Bell and Fiona Leggett. Fiona in a 2nd of the Cartworld MGs. Then it's Dave Pinkney and Richard Marsh, the 2 teammates. They're actually sharing row number 8 of the grid and the 2 Alfa Romeos. Behind them, we've got Erkut Kazilimak and Simon Blankley, and those two both pretty new into the championship. Behind them, Rick Kerry in the diesel-powered BMW, and John George in another of the Honda Integras, although I think he might have a problem, maybe still in the pit lane. Chris Stockton and Nick Leeson are on row number 11 of the grid. Nick Leeson had an engine problem earlier on, and watch from the back, because we've got Gordon Shedden and Matt Jackson, who had that coming together on the very opening lap here in the first race of the day, and they are both very, very fast.
Absolutely no doubt that both of those cars will come through. Matt Jackson really has been the star of the first few races in terms of making a massive splash in his debut in the British Touring Car Championship this time round. We know he's obviously been involved in the production category in the past, but really shows just how well the Jackson Motorsport team have got to grips with the BMW, the car that Andy Priaulx took to the World Touring Car Championship. So clearly the equipment's good, and not just his car, but the Team RAC BMW have shown that they're going to be a force as the year unfolds.
Well, let's see if we can have a quick word with Gordon Shedden now. He's having to start from the back. This is Ben in the commentary box to Gordon. Gordon, hopefully your car feels okay after losing a wheel in that first race. How does it feel at the moment?
Yeah, you know, the guys at Team Dynamics did a great job in even getting me out on the grid. We're a long way back, but I fully intend to go forward.
Great, well, we'll be keeping an eye on you, Gordon. Have a good one. And we'll see just how well both Gordon Shedden and Matt Jackson do from the back of the grid. A lot of work to do from back there. And of course, the grid is very strong these days, Simon. 24 cars out there. I mean, a few years ago, the back of the grid didn't mean you had to fight past that many, but it's a lot of cars.
Well, it's interesting as well because a lot of them are cars that have been bought from very successful teams. Understandably, if you're going to buy a second-hand car, is it, you're going to go for one that's been successful. So the amount of the Integras that you see on the grid sort of pretty much bears that one out.
Round 8 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship from Thruxton sees Fabrizio Giovanardi going for 2 out of 2 from the front row of the grid. Let's see what happens. Away we go. Great start from Plato. Giovanardi slow, and Turkington making it 3 abreast. The BMW going right round the outside of the first 2 that were on the grid, and it's Colin Turkington who leads as they come through the left-hander at green. Now, are his front tyres heated up enough? He struggled in the first race with the front tyres that weren't up to temperature, but he turns in well there. He leads Plato in second, Giovanardi in third place. Chilton started well, he's in 4th position, and these 4 just beginning to ease away.
Looked like one of the motor-based Seats was coming through as well. Yes, it was. Allison's had a good start, but notice just how late Jason Plato was on the brake, trying to keep Giovanardi back. Giovanardi's got momentum here. He's going to try to get to the inside, but they're not braking sufficiently for Goodwood for him to be able to do that. Watch for the cutback, though. We've seen this happen in the first race. It's likely that's what he's going to try to do.
Turkington, of course, carrying less ballast than the others here, so the ones behind him, Plato and Giovanardi, carrying quite a lot of ballast, and that's going to give Tom Chilton put a wheel on the grass there, but he gathers it together beautifully. It's Turkington in the Team RAC BMW from the Seat of Jason Plato. Chilton did lose time, and now in the background you can see there's pressure, and there's a drive-through penalty for Jason Plato. A drive-through penalty. We'll find out what it is. He may have jumped the start, and look behind it, Chilton and Matt Neal are side by side. Neal over the curb. Matt Neal squeezes ahead. He's got the Team Halford's car ahead of the second Vauxhall, and now Darren Turner's going to try and do the same. But Tom Onslow Cole and the other BMW through. Jason Plato is in the pits, and he's done his drive-through penalty. We gather it may have been because of the mechanic who was late leaving his car on the grid. They've got to be cleared by a certain time, and maybe they weren't clear in time.
Well, Matt Neal, look at this. He's absolutely awesome this first lap. He's obviously got the car set up to work from the off. In other words, they're not looking at this. What's going on with Turner? Has got mud there, and it's contact with Onslow Cole. Very, very sideways. It's going to allow Mike Jordan to get momentum, and also Gareth Howell's going to be the other side of him.
This is 3 abreast racing, and it's great stuff. We've got second place man here, Giovanardi. He's chasing after race leader Colin Turkington. Turkington won here last year driving an MG, but in a BMW. We've not seen a BMW win a British touring car race in some 9 years. I wonder if it's an opportunity here. But further back, look at the battles that are going on. As you say, Mike Jordan now has got ahead of Tom Onslow Cole, and he's got Owen Murray breathing down his neck. Tom Chilton also is trying to climb his way back up nearer the front after a bit of a difficult first lap, and everybody seems to have their own little dice going on. This is the race for the lead, though. It is Colin Turkington versus Fabrizio Giovanardi, the man who won earlier today. Behind them we've got Matt Neal and Tom Chilton. Matt Allison's going brilliantly behind that.
He races so well, Matt Allison. He's got a really good, clever head on him. He doesn't get flustered, and he's taken to touring cars so quickly. Plus, he's got the team behind him. Motorbase are doing a superb job of making their drivers really get the best out of the car. And Howell's looking strong. As you said, he had a tyre problem in race 1, but it does look like Giovanardi's car's coming on stronger and stronger, and it's getting defensive from Turkington now. He's really having to think about where he positions the car.
Yeah, this is hard work now for Colin Turkington. He's not able to just drive away. But I do know that they've changed the setup on the car a little bit to bring those front tyres in a little earlier. Whether it means that BMW's still going to be very good at the end of the race, which it was in race 1, we'll have to wait and see. Giovanardi had a great car all the way through the first race. He saved new tyres for today after qualifying in just a 5-lap sprint run yesterday. He saved so many sets of new tyres. It's put him in good shape, but there he is in second. Third place, Matt Neal going well. In the Team Halford's Honda, they've had 1 win this year, which they were as surprised as anybody, but he's very competitive here. Matt Neal in third place, chased by Tom Chilton.
Does look very, very confident, but Chilton looking a lot stronger than he did in race 1. We heard he's made a massive setup change. He's pretty much gone for Giovanardi's setup, and that's clearly working very well for the Italian, and he is instantly able to brake later and later as he goes into the chicane. But again, he's taking Matt Allison with him. He's really been dragged along. Look at this, he's going to run.
Yeah, Giovanardi really attacking now for the lead. This is the battle between the Team RAC BMW of Colin Turkington and the VXR Racing veteran of Fabrizio Giovanardi. But as you say, everyone is ganging up behind because Turkington isn't able to ease away. Now we're side by side into the Campbell corner, the first section of 3 corners here, known as the complex at Thruxton. So critical that you come out of this one well, because you're then flat out on the power, building up speed, and he's done that nicely. And what he's hoping is that Matt Neal now will attack and put Giovanardi under pressure and slow him down a bit.
It just looks at the moment like Giovanardi can carry so much more speed into the corners. Watch here, as Turkington brakes, Giovanardi's able to just let the car roll into the corner. One of the different characteristics is this slightly longer wheelbase. It seems to be balanced, and look how balanced as it comes out of the corner there, down towards Church.
He's on the inside, and he's got a real chance of taking the lead here, Giovanardi. It looks as though the Italian's back in front. Turkington trying to slot back in second, but he's wide. Turkington's wide, he's on the gravel, he's on the dirt. He loses 3 places, 4 places in one fell swoop, and Giovanardi now leads, and it's the battle for second between Matt Neal in the orange car, and look at Matt Allison in the white and black car trying to join in. This is the best performance we've seen from Matt Allison so far, but he has been consistent, and now he's loving it. He's mixing it with the race leaders here, and it's still the 2 Vauxhalls, 1-2, but how close can it get between this whole lead group?
This is just incredible, the way that the cars at the back are just staying with the pack. You see right at the back of that pack Mike Jordan, who should have been on the podium in race 1 but for that tyre failure. He looked after his tyres very well, but just had a little bit of damage somewhere. And also Gareth Howell. There we can see how quick Matt Allison is in the motor-based performance Seat, and it's likely that Howell's got a similar setup, and they're actually sandwiching the works car.
Yeah, they're going very, very well, but Giovanardi now beginning to just eke out a slight advantage there. Look, back from the race leader to his teammate. Now, he'll be very happy that it's his teammate second, because he'll hope that his teammate will work to keep the others behind him. That's Matt Neal running in 3rd place. Matt Allison, reigning British GTC champion. Very different class of racing he was doing last year, Allison, but he's also raced in the Clios, and he's been impressive in his first season of touring cars so far. Behind him, we've got Darren Turner. He's in the first of the Seat. Remember, Plato had a drive-through penalty, and he's now down in 16th position. There's Mike Nicholson of Vauxhall. What a day this could turn into for Vauxhall. You know, they have a tremendous record here at Thruxton. They really have won a lot of races over the years, but Matt Allison now in that Seat coming under pressure from Darren Turner. Gareth Howell takes a shortcut.
Yeah, he just couldn't get the car stopped. I wonder if somebody just edged him wide. It looked like he just had to roll off the brakes. Now, what's Howell going to do? Is he going to let Onslow Cole and Jordan back through? Because otherwise he's going to face a time penalty, or worse, still a drive-through. And that's going to totally ruin his chances, and could be significant for the last part when we look at the reverse grid. What is also interesting, how we've seen this big group suddenly get together. It's going to allow Jason Plato to have a much better chance of working his way through the pack and getting in amongst this lot.
Yeah, Plato's season has been so strong up till now, but his big rival for points, Giovanardi, is now leading this race, and Plato is out of the points currently, so we'll see what happens. Let's just take a look back at what happened to Howell. He did get a bit of a squeeze, I think, from Onslow Cole as they came into the corner, and he had to take a bit of a shortcut through.
Yeah, it looked like just a tiny bit of contact as they turned in. You can see it here. It looks like the BMW, actually the back of the car steps out, so it looks more like the BM actually was out, a little bit out of shape. Marsh, I think, is out there. Looks like there's damage which has blown the rad.
Yeah, that's right, front end damage to that car. Owen Murray's out of the race. Let's hope that they didn't collect each other. They're not the same team, but they both run Alfa Romeos, and Richard Marsh has got Owen Murray's spare engine in his car today. Back with the race leaders, it's Giovanardi versus Chilton. A little bit of a lock-up, and you know, Chilton looks much stronger in this second race than he did in the first. Matt Neal still in 3rd place. Allison, I think, still in 4th. There's a bit of a... No, Allison's off!
Oh, Allison's off! That's such a shame! No, that's a fairly big hit. That's the chicane. So I wonder if there's been contact to cause that. We'll have a look at a replay in a moment. But such a shame for Matt Allison. He's been so strong. Here we go.
So you've got the first 2 through, then Matt Neal comes through 3rd. Here comes... Oh, he's already backwards. And who has he tangled with? Darren Turner. Turner in the sail.
Oh, my goodness me, that is a huge hit. Now, that's surely going to bring out a safety car.
Well, that's, yes, both drivers are out of their cars. Darren Turner jumping up onto the tyre barrier. Look at the front, but the bonnet on his car just folded up because of the contact with Matt Allison. But Matt is also out of his car, so that's great news. But we have a safety car here at Thruxton as Giovanardi and Chilton lead a Vauxhall 1-2. They will be picked up by the safety car in a moment, and then, of course, they'll all have to back off. Behind them, we've got Matt Neal running in a very strong 3rd place. This is a big boost in performance for Team Halford. particularly here at Thruxton on this fast track. They're going to race past the incident, of course, before they get to the line and are picked up by the safety car.
Yeah, it's always ironic that they're actually going past where the problem is before the safety car rules come into effect. But it is going to squeeze everything up. Ironically, that accident to Matt Allison and Darren Turner is going to help their respective teammates. Gareth Howell now is on the back of a potential podium, and it's going to mean Jason Plato now up to 12th place as the cars squash up. He's got a couple of slightly slower cars around him, but also Shedden and Jackson have made their way into the top 10.
That's right. Safety car driven by Scott Stringfellow has picked them up on the exit of Allard and up towards the complex. So Giovanardi now has a chance, all of them have a chance to ease the pressure on the tyres, ease the strain, if you like, on those tyres that have been working so hard around this track where they're up to 150 miles an hour up towards the chicane. They're cornering at 130 miles an hour. But that is a section, they were braking from their highest speed here, Simon.
Yeah, I mean, just once you get on the grass, obviously nothing's going to slow you down. And Matt Allison was very, very early, so I'd love to see the onboard or exactly. Oh, goodness me, that is such a hard hit. As to why they went off so early, it clearly looks to me like they were obviously one was trying to go around the outside of the other, and hence the contact came in. Now, I would be very surprised if they're going to be able to get those cars straight for the final race.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? That was a heavy impact with the tyre barrier for both cars, effectively. So tough for both Darren Turner and Matt Allison, who are having a very good race, and Allison in particular, his best potential result in touring cars so far, and he was showing that he could race with the top boys and keep it clean, but something has obviously gone wrong. Absolutely no idea how it started, of course. This is something else. This was Richard Marsh's incident. Right, he collected Martin Bell. He just sort of locked up and clouted the side of Bell's car.
That would explain the huge damage on the front of Marsh's car, at least. But yeah, that was a little bit hopeful. He came from far too far back by the looks of things there. But it really was a situation where, and there's Richard Marsh, obviously relaxing, taking it all in.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too stressed about it all.
Marshals have lent them his deck chair, so that's an interesting one. Now, Gordon Shedden may well have had a bit more of a view of that incident. Let's see if we can have a word with Gordon. This is Ben in the commentary box to Gordon. Gordon, did you have any kind of a view of that accident that occurred at the chicane?
No, unfortunately not, Ben. Still a little bit too far back to see what went on there, but it looks like both cars are quite badly damaged.
Now, you've moved up a long way. You're up to 9th place. Presumably this safety car period is quite useful to you. I think he's a bit busy now, so he's answered our first question. But nonetheless, he's done very well, Simon, because he come from all the way from the back, remember, and he's up to 9th position. Matt Jackson also has come up well. He's up to 12th, but there's Matt Allison, the other Matt. Oh, glum for the man from Norwich. It's not been a good second race. It was going so well, and that's motor racing, isn't it? It can change in an instant.
It is such a shame, and the team boss Dave Bartram's his 46th birthday today, and it was looking like there was going to be a great birthday present, but there's still a chance, because look at Gareth Howell.
Yeah, Gareth Howell is well up on the grid, well up in the race. He's in 4th place, and the lights are out. Now, Plato's up to 11th after his drive-through. What a time for a safety car for him. And, you know, there are some times when you're going for a championship that everything falls your way. He may have had a drive-through penalty, but it's certainly fallen for him here because he's been able to catch up under safety car.
Well, the intelligent thing was, from Jason's point of view, as soon as he realised he got that drive-through, he took that penalty instantly, and that's given him as much time as possible to put himself back into contention. And if anyone can fight his way through, especially now he's got a little bit less weight than he had earlier on, it's going to be Jason Plato.
So we're on board with the race leader, Fabrizio Giovanardi, who will have the task of building up to the restart here. We're all set to go once again. Giovanardi gets on the gas out of the chicane. The race restarts after the accident that took out Matt Allison and Darren Turner, and Giovanardi has his teammate behind, so that's a wonderful situation to be in. Tom Chilton follows through in 2nd. Matt Neal is in 3rd. Gareth Howell got a bit slidey there, put a wheel on the grass coming through Allard. He's running in 4th place, but could be under pressure from Colin Turkington. Mike Jordan in behind him, and then Tom Onslow Cole in the 2nd of the BMWs. It is pretty clean at the moment, I have to say, through that section. And Jason Hughes in the MG was putting a bit of pressure on Onslow Cole. He's at the back of that queue.
Yeah, in fact, I think Shedden might have just nipped past Hughes in the second part of this complex there. So a good move from Shedden. He's clearly got his head down. Look at the pace of Matt Neal in the other Team Halford's car. So assuming that they've got a similar setup, clearly the guys have got the car fixed okay. So it's going to watch to see whether Shedden's going to get stronger as the race unfolds.
But again, it's Giovanardi who's managing to ease away. Look at this side-by-side perhaps here. Mike Jordan trying to get past Colin Turkington. This is for 5th place down. Yes, he's made it through on the approach, but does he hold it tight enough on the exit? And it's allowed Tom Onslow Cole, Turkington's teammate, to join in. Mike Jordan takes 5th, Turkington's back to 6th, Onslow Cole in 7th, and then, as you say, Gordon Shedden. But look, it's Plato behind that as well. Jason Plato has gained a couple of places on this lap since the restart occurred. Plato's got ahead of Hughes, and now we can really see Jason getting in the points. And remember, the reverse grid for race 3 could be as many as 10 cars. So if he can get into the top 10 here, Plato, he can have every chance of being on the front row for race 3.
Well, he crosses the line and the timing screen shows him in 9th, so he's got that part of it done. Now, can he get onto the back of this pack? Gareth Howell is staying with these guys. He's going to go in. He's gone in way too late. He's obviously outbraked himself. That's going to maybe allow him to fall into the clutches of Mike Jordan.
Yeah, it's allowed the top 3 to make a bit of a break, but look at Matt Neal in 3rd, the third of these 3, the orange car of Team Halford, really keeping the pressure on Tom Chilton. But that setup change that Chilton made for this race is much, much better. You can see he's able to drive the car hard throughout the entire race distance. Okay, we've still got a way to go. 10 laps have been completed. We're on lap number 11 out of what is now an 18-lap race. That's because the 2 safety car laps have been added to the race distance. So it's a longer race for them in a way now, but the tyres had a chance to take a breather under safety car conditions.
Yeah, it sort of evens out, doesn't it, as you said, Ben, because although they've got more laps, they've had that little bit of a breather period in the middle. Plato looking very strong. He's on the back of Tom Onslow Cole immediately. Watch the momentum. He's got past Shedden. So wonder if now Plato's going to work his way through, and we can see him even as high as the top 6 on this sort of pace.
Onslow Cole in his first season of British Touring Cars, remember, he's been pretty impressive as the teenager, but he's got the pressure on now from the series leader and former champion Jason Plato right behind him in the Seat. A car which has been beautifully developed over the last few years, and it well could be the class of the field. A lot of other new cars involved this year's championship, and there's still some development work to be done on those. But Plato hasn't got it all his own way because Gordon Shedden's still right behind him. Look at this for 2nd place, and it's still Tom Chilton from Matt Neal, the reigning champion Matt Neal, applying the pressure to the back of Tom Chilton's car. But there's none of that sliding around that we saw from Chilton earlier.
Definitely the new setup, or the setup that Giovanardi had from race 1 is clearly working for Tom. But interesting with Matt Neal's car, it seems to be able to pick the power up so much earlier than Chilton. He seems to have better traction, especially where it matters most, out of the complex.
Yeah, it does look very, very good at that section, but through these fast corners, the Vectra, slightly longer wheelbase, perhaps slightly more forgiving car to drive than the Honda.
But it looks like certainly suits Tom Chilton's very flamboyant driving style. He loves letting the car slide around. Invariably, he sets the back of the car up to be quite loose. But Howell's got a problem. Another problem for Gareth Howell. It looks like he slowed down for, could be for puncture, could be for a mechanical, but terrible, terrible luck for Motorbase.
Yeah, so that's brought Mike Jordan now up into 4th, and it'll bring Colin Turkington into 5th, and then this group for 6th. So now Plato's in 7th place because of 1 or 2 people having problems, and he's attacking from that position, tucked in behind Tom Onslow Cole. Let's watch him through the right-hander here, just after the pit exit. We're sweeping through, very fast right-hander, now up towards the left-hander at green, and then into the sequence of corners known as the complex. Great viewing. You can see all the people up on the banking there. It's a fantastic place to watch racing. Plato not quite able to get alongside there.
So important to go in really, really neatly into that first part, because if you go in a tiny bit too hot, you're going to lose momentum. Now, this is where the traction of the BMW really shows coming out of that complex. We talked about traction from Matt Neal's car, very different type of configuration, but with the BMWs, we know that's their strong point, but this is where he seems to reel them back in again. This is where that balance, and that high-speed balance that Darren Turner talked about earlier, really seems to come into its own.
So watch Jason Plato lights ablaze with Gordon Shedden right behind him as well. These 2 are flying. Shedden came from the back of the grid. Plato's come through from a drive-through penalty, which dropped into the very back as well. So they've both driven very well. The question is, have they strained their tyres too much? I think that safety car period will have helped them from that point of view as well. It did give them a chance to relax the tyres and let them, as we say, breathe again. Behind these 2, it's still Jason Hughes in 10th place, Dave Pinkney 11th, Simon Blankley going well as well, with Erkut Kaziliamak just behind them, and then Fiona Leggett, she's in 13th position, but there's nothing to choose between these guys. 13 laps have been completed. We're on lap 14 out of 18, and still Matt Neal is shadowing every move that Tom Chilton makes. you couldn't get much closer without rubbing bodywork, but so far Chilton has been very, very solid.
He doesn't look like the pressure's bothering, but remember there's a bit of recent history between these two. Again, you can see how Neil closes on the way out of the complex. This is where, as you said, Ben, the vector seems stronger through the real sweepers here, because once you get into this momentum, the back of the car seems to be able to take that sort of pace. It doesn't seem to move around. But Neil is really thinking now, where am I quicker? Where can I find momentum? Sorry, Ben.
No, absolutely. But Giovanardi, I mean, he's making the most of that absolutely here. He's got great momentum through those fast corners, and he's opening up that gap again. You know, if Giovanardi wins this race, it'll be win number 4 of the season, and the battle is definitely going between Vauxhall and Seat. But here, at the moment, it's between the Team Halford's car of Matt Neal and the Vauxhall of Tom Chilton. And this time, Matt Neal's going to go for it a little bit to the outside, but Chilton can be so late on the brakes and still get it under control. We saw this in the earlier race too.
It's something that's very characteristic in Tom's driving style, is this very, very confident braking technique. But look at Plato now, he's got both of the BMW at his side. See how much Tomaso Cole's car moved around there. Has he got enough momentum to get to Allard? I don't think so, but he's certainly going to be in a position to potentially have a look when they get to the braking area for the complex.
So Plato still in 7th, Shedden in 8th place. That should see them well up on the grid for race 3. He won't want to take a big gamble to get past, but if he can pressurise, and he's done the inside, and that's the mistake he was looking for. Onslow Cole just went in a bit deep. Now Shedden is trying to follow him, but Onslow Cole actually played that quite cleverly. He knew he'd lost 1 place, so he concentrated on not losing 2.
Thought it through, and he's actually done Plato a big favour, because I think Shedden was starting to put quite a lot of pressure onto Plato. Now here we go, late on the brakes, down the inside, edges him out a little bit. As you say, Onslow Cole thought it through, but you can hear Plato's already hard on the gas and using that momentum to try to take some time out of Turkington.
Yeah, that was a clever move by Plato. He really went for it late, and Onslow Cole wasn't expecting it. But then, as Gordon Shedden tried to follow him, there was a bit of a touch, but Onslow Cole sensibly put his car in just the right place and didn't let the Scotsman come through. So those two have stayed the same. This is the battle for second, and Matt Neal has got into that 2nd place now. So the Vauxhalls have been split by the Team Halford's car of Matt Neal, and you can never discount Matt Neal, twice the champion in the last 2 years. Further back, Tom Onslow Cole's got Gordon Shedden behind him still, and these two are fighting just inside the top 10, of course. Could be a chance for Shedden here.
Yeah, and Tom Onslow Cole ran very wide on the way out. Looked like he got over the curbs a bit too heavy. Look how loose the back of the car is. You can see how the bump in the apex of Allard really affects the car. Now it's going to be interesting to see whether Shedden saw what Plato did and thought, maybe I can do that, maybe I can roll the car in. But he's a bit further back. He's likely almost a touch. He's thinking about where can I get a bit of a run through here. But again, this is one of the stronger parts for the BMW. But it does look like Plato is edging ever closer to Turkington.
This is good racing, I have to say. Great onboard shots as well as we go through the fast sweeping corners here at Thruxton. The sun is shining now. It's a beautiful circuit in the sunshine, and it's a hard track for the drivers. They really have to embrace the corners and really screw up their courage to take these corners at their best effect. So quick through these 2 right-handers, but it's still Giovanardi who leads by 1.1 seconds over now Matt Neal in 2nd place. Mike Jordan in a bit of a lonely 4th place, but there is our race leader, and he's got a good advantage.
Well, this is the stage where we're really going to see whether Giovanardi's had to work the car too hard or whether Matt Neal is the man with the pace. 1.178 was the gap last time as they crossed the line and as they charged down towards the next lap. Let's see what the gap has changed to. 1.048, so Neal is quicker.
A little bit faster, but bear in mind there are only 2 laps to go now, less than 2 laps to go as they cross the line. Plato still pushing to try and get past Colin Turkington. Again, look at the back end of Turkington's car sliding around, the rear-wheel drive BMW just sliding around a bit more. And the team, of course, have never run the car here at Thruxton. It is so unique. They're still learning every time the car goes out there how to change it. There's no testing allowed, remember, very little testing at the start of the season as well. So all the teams are learning as they go through each and every race. But so far, beautifully driven there by Turkington. He's living with what we call oversteer, the back end of the car moving around more than the front, but he's driving it well, keeping it smooth and not losing the place.
And let's not forget that Colin Turkington, a little bit of grass cutting there by Chilton. Here comes Jordan, but let's not forget Turkington's new to rear-wheel drive. He hasn't really driven rear-wheel drive cars much before, so it's a technique he's having to really rethink his driving style. But one thing we know about Colin Turkington is his very, very natural, flamboyant car control. and if anyone can, he's going to be able to deal with it better than most.
Well, he's got a lap and a bit to hold on for that position if he can. It is for 5th place. Giovanardi still leading the race. Let's just see what happened here a moment ago. This was when Matt Neal got 2nd place. He managed to get past Tom Chilton. It was a great run through Church. He was forced to the outside, so then it was going to be a question of who could break later into the chicane. Now, we know that Chilton's usually pretty late, but somehow Matt Neal found a way through.
But it looked like that move started at the previous corner, Goodwood. It looked like he probably got a better run out of Goodwood, because by the time they come out of Church, the last fast right-hander up the hill, he was already on the back of Tom Chilton's car. And look how close now is Matt Neal to Fabrizio Giovanardi as we start this final lap.
Yeah, this is certainly good progress for Team Halfords. He's managed to close right up to the Vauxhall ahead, and on that last lap, Matt Neal some 0.4 of a second faster than Giovanardi. But Giovanardi is not going to give up this win easily. He's looking for his 4th win of the season, 2 victories at Rockingham, the 1st win of the day here at Thruxton already. He wants to add to that tally because Jason Plato is down in 6th, and this is a real opportunity for the Vauxhall driver to close up on Jason Plato in the points, and this is something he's going to grasp with both hands, I'm sure. Good, fast for Matt Neal, though. He was very quick through Church Corner. I'm not sure it's going to be quite enough for him to attack on the run to the chicane. He's closing, but Giovanardi's got the line up here. He's not really under too much pressure. Little bit of a lock-up under braking. Matt Neal closes right in, but I don't think there's time, because they'll see the checkered flag as they come through this time. It's the 2nd win of the day for Fabrizio Giovanardi. 2nd place goes to Matt Neal. I think 3rd is going to go to Tom Chilton. Chilton coming across the line to make it a 1st and 3rd for Vauxhall. 4th for Mike Jordan, 5th for Colin Turkington, and then Jason Plato is going to come home in 6th. 7th place for Onslow Cole, 8th for Shedden, 9th for Hughes, and 10th for Dave Pinkney.
And let's not forget now, Jason Plato storming through from that drive-through now is going to benefit from not having to have as much weight on the car as they may have done if he finished further up.
Good point, and we'll have a reversed grid as well. We don't know how many top 6 to top 10 will be reversed on the spinning of a wheel, and that was there is Fabrizio Giovanardi celebrating his victory. 2 out of 2. You know, Vauxhall do have a tremendous record. Between 2001 and 2004, they won something like 10 of 11 races. Ivan Muller was always the star for Vauxhall here, and now it seems to be another continental driver who has adopted Thruxton, if you like, as his favourite track. It used to be Muller, now it's Fabrizio Giovanardi.
Well, talent shines through, doesn't it? As Mike Nicholson said earlier, a bit of a learning year for Fabrizio last year in a very tricky car. This car is much quicker, much earlier on.
So Giovanardi wins the 2nd race of the day. He's just followed home by Matt Neal, very close between them. Chilton in 3rd. Mike Jordan an excellent 4th, having started 10th. Turkington 5th. Jason Plato 6th, despite a drive-through penalty. Onslow Cole 7th. Shedden 8th from the back of the grid. Jason Hughes finished 9th, and Dave Pinkney was 10th.
Well, that was a very exciting race. Fabrizio Giovanardi does the double here at Thruxton, but we've got plenty of more action still to come. Join us for that after the break.
Welcome back to Thruxton. Our Setanta Sports coverage continues. Let's just see what has happened to the points now, and look how close it is now between Plato and Giovanardi. After victory for Giovanardi in race 2, he's only 1 point behind Jason Plato. Tom Chilton holds on to 3rd, but Matt Neal much closer now in 4th as a result of his 2nd position. Colin Turkington in 5th, ahead of Matt Jackson and Darren Turner. They're all very, very tight there. Tom Onslow Cole is in 8th, Mike Jordan in 9th, and Gordon Shedden is in 10th place. They're coming up from the back there, made a big difference to him. Now in the teams championship, it's VX Racing ahead on 147 points, Seat Sport on 119. So Vauxhall are really having a good day because they've opened up that advantage. Interestingly, very close between Halfords and RAC, 3rd and 4th, not much to choose between them. Let's hear now from Fabrizio Giovanardi, who's with Diana.
He certainly is, yes. He's just got out of the car, putting his cap on. Giovanardi, many congratulations. The double here today, it's going well.
Yeah, it's great because I was full of ballast. I felt some trouble in the last 6 laps when I see Matt is coming. I say, oh, I have to be concentrated to make no mistake. It's what they've done. Oh, hard more than the first one. Anyway, the win is everything, the win. Thank you for everybody.
Matt was really pushing you at the end there, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's true. He's pushing, he overtook my teammate, so I was really scared. Anyway, because he knows him very well, so he's not easy driver for me.
You enjoyed it though?
Yeah, thank you.
Well done. And Matt is just here, just next to him. Matt, Congratulations, that was a good bash through the grid there.
It was busy for a bit, wasn't it? When I got slotted in behind these two early on, I was thinking, right, just sit here and wait, you know, and because they do seem to be using the tyres pretty hard. And Tom followed the script, and it wasn't early enough to get in, but I was just hoping for another couple of laps. They were that little bit too quick down the straight for us.
You had Fabrizio worried for a while, though.
Well, I was trying lights on, lights off, flashing lights, everything, but he's been around too long to follow any of that, hasn't he?
But happy for you to be on the podium.
Over the moon. Over the moon for everybody at Team Halfords, you know, Clydesdale here today and everyone. Just fantastic result for us. We had a bit of a tough one in the first race, but yeah, really good.
Well done, Matt. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And we'll just try and catch up with Tom. I don't quite know where he's gone, but he's just behind me. So, yep, we're around here. Tom, many congratulations on that podium finish.
Thank you very much. Another podium finish for Vauxhall, and we pulled out more points on Sear, which is fantastic. I'm so happy. I think the team's really happy as well. I struggled a little bit in the first race. I ended up going too hard to start off with and got fastest lap, and then I think probably got the slowest lap at the end. So it was very good then to finish on the podium, and you know, we keep pulling out on Sear, which is fantastic.
Okay, well done.
Thanks.
Okay.